very helpful. And they actually, they're gonna come out as soon as the asphalt plants are open, and they're gonna do a rebuild there to help this problem. And Dave stopped down and checked it out for me also, so, I mean, I know there's times that the county and I just don't get along, but I gotta tell you, I'm more than thankful for them stepping up and coming in to help this problem.
All I've noticed that Larry and Mike have been very, very helpful with everything we do over there.
Yeah, this guy Robert, I'm not sure who he is, but Dave says they've sort of divided Orange County into different quadrants, right?
No, they have foremen to keep an eye on areas.
Yeah. I mean, they called me so quick, it was crazy. So then they got down there and they looked at it, and they realized it is a farm. I guess back in the day, they built their own catch,
There's the grates on top of it.
drains, and they made it so small that the puzzles and all that stuff couldn't get down. So in a day or two after a big rain, it just filled up. So then you get old drivers going out there once a week or once every 2 weeks cleaning out the grate. And, that's not his responsibility. So they definitely figured out a problem and they got it going. So, yeah, I'm very glad, very helpful. So anything else?
Yes, I received the Portage County Development Board, of which our township is a member of that group. They've given out what they call Save the Date for May the 24th at medical school. It's going to be a celebration of what they call Locate, Stay, and Grow 2023. And this is where communities nominate people in their community as to be an outstanding person working within the community. And businesses, how business, you can all nominate a business and all that. But I just want to let you know that this will be May the 24th, 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock, with an award ceremony at 6. So I'm going to turn this over to John, going to take a look at that page. And just to let you know that that's in the works. It's a big to-do.
Okay. Thanks. Now, yeah, one last announcement. A lot of you people never know who actually gets everything going computer-wise in the township, IT. So usually there's a little Mickey Mouse closet down in the basement. So we have a new IT person. His name is Joe Jameson, who lives in Brimfield, and he came from Festival High.
Well, yeah, Sheridan, Ohio is its technical name now. It was Preston, Ohio. Then it was Hess Print Solutions. Now it's Sheridan of Ohio. The printing facility down on Sunnybrook. We'll call it that because give it a few more years and it'll change names again.
It is a wonderful addition to the township. Now, nobody realizes IT. I mean, with all this cyber hacking and all this stuff, I mean, this is such an integral part of our township. I mean, I remember back in the day when Jim and I were even on the board. Yeah, none of this crap we had to worry about. But now, oh my God, if we're not on top of it, it's terrible. So, and everybody, this is Eric. Eric is Cassie's assistant.
She's the parks assistant. Today she's my assistant. She brought me my laptop.
Cassie, I don't know if you know Chick's friend. Chick?
Yeah.
Or Aaron.
Like I know.
He used to be a trustee here for 45 years.
A lot of our posts now that are Facebook pages are
Yeah, all of those beautiful graphics are there. So you're always welcome to stay.
She's gonna her coffee.
Okay. I just want everyone to know. So he's still running the system, but he's running it
From a laptop.
Okay.
Well, I found the first bug. I already fixed it.
Okay.
You got confirmation it's working.
Yes.
Okay, we have any meeting guests. We have a reporter. You have anything you want to say? Okay, welcome back. Okay, Minutes.
We have 3 sets of minutes, one from the regular meeting of 2/22/23, and then 2 emergency ones on 2/27 and 2/28 of
We want to
23.
run them all there.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the minutes for those dates, time as well.
Second,
Okay, all those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
yes.
Motion passed. Thank you.
Okay, the agenda. Anybody have any changes?
I do. Can I add 4088 Linwood Drive to the agenda?
So that would be DE, 2E in the What was it again, Mike? I'm sorry.
It's 4088 Linwood Drive. I need to send that to the prosecutor's office.
Anybody else have anything? Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the amended agenda for the addition. Stay at the zoning for the drive.
All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion, I have signed and reviewed the purchase orders.
Second,
All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
yes.
Motion passed.
And I'm going to make a motion that we do the warrants, I reviewed them and signed them.
Yes, second,
All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, we haven't heard from a lot of you folks in a while, so let's public comments. Bill?
I got some, of course, some questions.
We just thought you were coming to say hi.
Oh, no, I didn't bring all the paperwork with me because I didn't have anything to hold anyway.
I thought you were in Florida or something.
Bob Buell, 3461 infamous Montgomery Road. Michael, have you heard anything about the beautification of the 3413 household there? That house on the corner with all the
The
junk.
backhoes and
Yeah,
cars and
backhoe the
vehicles.
trucks and the boats and the cars and the plane. It went up for foreclosure.
We sent that to the prosecutor's office. He sent a letter out, and that's where it's at right now.
Okay, it went to foreclosure. It was in the paper and it went up. Somebody bid 66,000, what the minimum was. And I didn't see anything after that and it went off the charts.
Yeah,
And of course, they gotta, if they have their successful bidder with the finance company, they have to file eviction notices and all the other craziness to get in there. So I don't
Right.
know. I know the police department was out there and arrested a fellow there back 3 or 4 months ago, and I never saw anything in the paper. Nobody knew anything about it. I don't know what his problem was. Probably cited him for the chickens that were in my neighbor's backyard. They liked the eggs because the prices were up. But, and then we got a letter here from the county that they were gonna start on March 13th, the surveying and soil samples for the roundabout at Montgomery Road. The stop signs are working so well. Some people don't use them. I mean, they fly through there. And there's a couple guys in the morning about 5:30 that they don't see any headlights. They don't even slow down, but they're gonna get it one of these days, Bambi's gonna come out. Yeah, anyway, but they're gonna start on the 13th to see if they can put this thing in. They already got $1,500,000, and it's like, you can't spend it somewhere else to help out a flooding problem or something like that. No, they're gonna build this stupid roundabout, And, they say there's, I don't know how many thousands in the state of Ohio, but half of them are in green, they got one every, oh gosh, in the car parts, oh my gosh, the headlights, the bumpers, the grills that are laying around those roundabouts are amazing, So
When you said you heard it was $1.5 million,
they got $1.5 million.
Actually, total.
Yeah.
For
Collins,
the,
Michael Collins, he
for the study? For the whole thing.
They got it from the state, a grant to build it, $1,500,000. Of course, you know, they always run over.
They,
But,
yeah, they got money from Amex.
so that's, I mean, it's been so quiet out there with that four-way stop and a couple of little fender benders. Somebody hit the helmet snowplow the last time we had a snowstorm, you know.
Wasn't that road closed for a bit with the, right over there by the gas?
Well, when they had the interstate messed up, it was closed for months. And then they opened it up and then they fixed the railroad tracks, which was a godsend, you know, it's like, oh, I wish they could do them all like they did that. Oh, yeah, it was quiet, you know. I mean, my driveway got a lot of, oh, I don't believe that sign that was this big that said road closed. I got to turn around, I put cones out. I put a toll booth up there. I made $14.87. Yeah.
You guys see any more down the street?
Couple times, I mean, battle officers come up and sit by the driveway and watch the stop sign. And when the weather gets nice, I had a guy that, I think he works down at the trucking company, come by at 5 o'clock in the morning with this motorcycle with no exhaust system on it and a radio louder than the motorcycle. And I tried to pull out in front of him, but I missed him. But anyways, one of the guys sat over there one morning when I went out to go to walk about 6 a.m. and he said, I didn't see this guy. He said, you missed him about an hour ago. And he said, well, I was watching the stop sign. He said, some of those guys don't stop. I said, yeah, all right. And I know citing them is a hassle because if they, you know, you don't have a court. You know, maybe someday we'll have a mayor's court or some kind of a way that we can get the money back from these crazy people that are out there. You know? Like, you see drivers today that I haven't seen in my lifetime that don't stop, go down the interstate in 85, 90 miles an hour. I mean, they go by you like nothing, you know. And I said, wow, just with their text, you know, on their cell phone, texting something. That's all I got from our neighborhood, you know. My neighbor wanted to know, well, we'll have to wait till 13th when they come out and see what they're doing. I mean, we've got gasoline lines that are running across there, we have natural gas lines, and they're gonna have to take half these people's yards to put this thing in. Because with the trucks from recycle trying to make the corners, semis can't make the corner now. And so, and we get a lot of semi-traffic now, I don't know where they're coming from. They come from Mogador and they come down Saks to Old Ford, to Mogador, and then they go through to get on the expressway, I imagine. There was 4 of them in a row the other night, I don't know what, there's something going on down there, and they drove the, hard for them to make a roundabout. And you see them out there.
That's a tough one.
That's all we got, we'll wait till the 13th to see what happens.
Thanks, Bob. Dick, you got anything?
Yeah, I have.
Sure. What have you done for them?
Anybody know?
They just put the fence up around it, it's been closed for a long
Why
time.
did it close?
Oh, they had flood.
They had fun?
And the whole, wasn't
Go ahead.
the whole upstairs or something?
Right, Creighton. You know, flooded,
They
they,
can open again?
I hope not.
Okay.
It's stripped down to the studs. It's been that way
Oh, really?
since-
They do the inside?
No, the restoration company, I think, didn't get all the damage out, but it's been sitting there.
Mhm.
And then they had a guy watching it, didn't they? And now maybe that got too expensive, they put a chain or a fence up around it now. So,
I just wondered if it's gonna reopen or somebody buy it.
But there's been rumors that maybe someone will go in there, so. Okay.
nothing there.
Nothing right now.
Alright. It's a big hopes for that, get the water park area.
That would be nicer.
Yeah, it is, so. Okay, that, do we have any safety concerns?
No.
Okay, let's get into Mr. Reed. Police Department.
Thanks, Mike. A couple of items for the board this morning. Update on police officer hiring. Both candidates that were in the police academy, they completed that a couple of weeks ago. They just passed their state tests this Monday. So I have one candidate scheduled for psychological later this week and another one for a polygraph at the end of next week. So that process is moving forward. And I'll keep you guys apprised when we get to the point where hopefully we'll be able to swear in a couple of police officers here in the near future. Want to let the board know we've got an upcoming community event taking place next Wednesday, March 15th. We'll be over at Brimfield Elementary School reading to the students. It's Cookies with the Cop is going to be the title of our program there. So that's all centered around reading to the students. Also want to let the board know one of our officers, Officer Shannon Stagnolia, he's being recognized by the Kent American Legion at their annual Law and Order recognition dinner. That's taking place this Saturday in the evening, and I'll be there with Officer Stagnolia and his family as he gets recognized as our Officer of the Year. One final item I have for the board is I need board approval for our 2023-2024 communications contract with Kent State University PD. That's a 12-month agreement, which we do each year. There is a slight increase in this contract over last year's agreement. I believe it's 3%, and that's to account for the increase in wages to dispatch that were provided to Kent State University's dispatchers.
What's the total cost, right?
Total is $73,439, payable semi-annually, half payment April 1st, and the other half October 1st.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion that we approve contract with Kent State University for our communication services
Second.
for $73,439.
Seeing none, all those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
And Mike, if you and Sue could sign that for me, please, I'd appreciate it. And that's all I have for you this morning, unless you have any questions.
After you get there, so you can want that copy of yours.
Final copy? Yeah, sure can.
Thank you.
Back to work. That's it.
Yep, thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Okay, fire department.
Yeah, just for the fire department, just a couple updates. Monday, we had 5 of the candidates for our firefighter hire in to do an assessment center. They all worked really good, so we'll move on to the next step of that. USDA monthly meeting was completed. I was not able to attend. I was in class, but John was there. So if there's any questions, John might have to answer this on that meeting, but station build continues. Really the main thing they're doing is painting right now. Painting on the inside with drywall right around the corner, they keep telling me. Rycon, Moody Nolan met to figure out some of the permit issues and have figured that out and have permits in hand to start moving forward with additional things that they've been waiting on.
Do they have the permits for the drywall?
I don't know exactly what,
The last-
they only had the rough exterior and they have more than that. I don't know exactly which ones.
What I had gotten back from Portage County had some additional things they needed, and I was told yesterday that those for the plumbing, the electric, and part to work with the drywall had been sent over to Portage County and was getting the process of getting approved. And yesterday they started talking about doing the drywall inside. So, we're still waiting on the extended completion date, which we've been waiting for a month now, month and a half.
Yeah.
We still can't get in writing as of yesterday. I think it's getting pushed back even further now. So, they want to commit.
You know, Scott, the guy that's managing the job is frustrated and frustration.
Yeah.
He wants to get going on the drywall.
Well, that was what they were talking about yesterday. I think that's their plan for the rest of this week and next week.
Get started. That's fine.
2 more things still not on the item. I'm still working on the flagpole. People have called about that. I called twice now and they have not came out. So I'm still working on that.
You just need like the road replaced?
No, I need that
Whole.
Yeah, well, I need their recommendation, but I need them to come out and give it to me. So I still haven't got that yet. Once we get that, we'll bring it back to the board for a decision on where we want to move forward.
Because right now, we don't know where we're going to put it, right? Based
Well,
on
we
these.
put it back in the same
I
spot.
meant in the general areas, we had to make sure that
Right.
it was
We just, the rope's broke right now, it's at the top.
in the pools.
So I can't get to it. I have nothing that I can get to. Also, I'm going to remove the bushes around the gazebo. Dave's crew's gonna do that, they might already done it right now.
Yeah, might be what we're working on right now.
But we wanna clean all that up and start fresh. So, if you see some more stuff being removed, that's sweet.
I know you're a little concerned about the drop off.
Well, they talked about that yesterday as well. They don't have a solution to it, but they were working on what they're gonna do over there. I would stress that that needs to be number one on their list.
So, I've asked for Mike 3 months now for an answer to that.
They brought it up without me bringing it up though,
So you don't want that big hunk of concrete out there.
They have to get rid of it.
Is that historical?
Yeah, if you wanna take it. I'll take the bar stones, I don't care about that.
I just remember back in the day, man, people used to love to get married in that thing, in the gazebo. I just hope there's at least some semi-flat ground, so there's a small wedding to get in there.
The best thing would be to move it, but we're just beyond that.
Do away with the bottom of the gazebo,
Yeah. Yeah, where they used to have the concession stand underneath.
No, it's gonna stay there and we'll make it look good.
And that would be so cool if they could, well, but rebuild that bottom part and make it look like it used to.
With all those bushes gone, you might be able to put an entrance to a different spot up there.
Right. Right,
Because there's 4 entrances on there.
there's nothing sentimental to the bushes. So
Right.
we need all new landscapes, we're gonna clean that all up, flatten it out hopefully.
Right, just enough so people can use it.
Yeah, replant.
When I was up there, walking around, I mean, I know we lost part of the town green, and like, Cassie and I talked about all the other new property we got, so just sort of, I think we actually figured out between the daycare and all the other property back there, we have more town green.
That's all connected.
Right now, it's all connected, so.
Well, again, I'm hoping to reshape everything when it's all set up.
Well,
You know, where the job trailer sits now, that would go away, and I would like to have a pavilion back in that area for picnics and stuff. But that's how it works.
Well, there's
Get rid of the garage.
Can't get rid of the garage yet, but, you know, where we started to put the concert area. That was a plan at one point, there's already electric there, so
Yeah.
I'd like to redo that back area.
Yeah, well, make sure you work with Cassie, because I know she's got some crazy ideas.
Well, one of the ideas we were thinking about too is put a walking path right there to connect the library, council house, and all that along, and possibly be lit over there, like.
Well, that's what we're talking about, we're trying to get that tip together, so.
Yep.
we can have a- So everything can be all connected, get all the way up to the sidewalk, 143.
Yep.
That's the big thing, everything being connected.
That's all I have, it's just something I have nothing to work with.
Okay, thanks, Greg.
I'm sorry, she never seen the sun.
I said, I can't see.
You got your sunblock?
I
have mine. Oh, gosh.
To where you start, like, is gonna get
You wanna, you wanna,
some.
you wanna look somewhere because. It's so much. Yeah, come on up here. Yeah.
Everybody scoot over.
Oh, God, I'm fine.
I'm scooped there.
You can swing, go to the end of the table. Go to the end of the table. There.
I just,
There you go. You can see.
Yeah.
I just texted Aaron, we're gonna look for blinds after the meeting, so.
Okay, administration.
All right, there are a couple things out here. The first item is the EAP program, which we've discussed in the last couple meetings. And what we did is that Holly, our HR person, and myself, and Roy was involved as well. We've actually gone out and she did a search in the area for an EAP program, employee assistance program for the employees here at Brimfield Township. She did research with Boardman Township, Jackson Township, Talmadge, Barberton. She went out to talk to all of them to get recommendations. She did do 3 proposals. One was from the EAP provider, one was from Ease at Work, powered by All One Health, and the other one was Work Life Solutions. And based off of her recommendation, and I looked through all the proposals as well, is that she feels that the All-in-One Health, the second one on that comparison sheet, is the best option for us to take. What it gives us is, well, what this is for employees, for spouses, for children of the township. If there was an issue at work, if there was an issue with the police department with a call, if there was a divorce situation, anything that goes on in that family unit, they have the ability to call. This proposal has an average of 5 contacts per employee that are out there around the pool. So if one employee uses it 15 times and the other employee didn't use it, the other 2, that they used all those visits. So we're gonna have plenty of visits. And they're over the phone, or they could be in person as well. That is $3,300 a year for that service. I know for certain in the last year and a half, and I bet you if I think back a long time, there'd be a lot more, but in the last year and a half, there were a couple of situations where we could have really used the EAP for some of our employees. So I'm recommending that we take the $3,300 option as well from the All One Health for the EAP program. So, but we talked about it 2 or 3 months ago, and then we went out to bid and we looked at a bunch of them. So, and Holly does that she works with the EAP program.
Well, I know out in the corporate structure, that's one of the requirements that most corporations have is an employee assistance program built into their medical insurance, and we've never had anything like that for us. And I think by adopting this recommended program for us, that will also give us some meat when it comes to any type of a lawsuit, that we're not taking care of our employees. So I think it's a program that we really need to be a benefit for the township.
Will we make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion that we accept the EAP proposal.
Okay, I'll second it for discussion then.
Okay, and one of the other things that we want to keep in mind is that as we keep getting larger, I mean, there are things that we didn't need when we were 25 employees. Craig, you're gonna hire one, right? He's not a replacement?
Well, he's
Okay. Roy, you're adding the extra one, right?
Well, I'm replacing one and then adding one, but that ad is technically gonna become a replacement again because of a pending retirement leave.
So
But
we're
yeah,
gonna go from 61 to 62 employees, and then drop back down to 61 employees. So we're getting up there in the size, and a lot of those things, we just have to start. When you get up, we're a bigger place now, we have to offer certain things. So I think though, from even the situations that we had in the last year and a half, this would have paid off dramatically for those.
Yeah, we got.
But this is like, you seem so good, we can talk to them 5 times a year
It's the average for person.
per person.
Yeah, but they use that as a grant.
5, so that's 300.
Yeah, they use that as a grand total. So
So,
everybody's not going 5 times a year. So if somebody went 10 times a year, they just.
yeah, it's just misleading, I mean, I thought it was.
It's 5 times however one voice do that, that's what it is. So, yeah, we're not gonna have I don't think that's gonna be an issue.
So the chiefs, do you guys, you feel the need for this, or do you think it all?
yeah, right now you're going from nothing to something, which is the first step. So yeah, I think it's an important first step, and where it evolves from going to the future is to be determined, but I would definitely recommend we have to go from nothing to something.
Well, I think one of the steps down the road, I don't know if Roy wants to talk on this a little bit, but this is a general EAP that has things for everybody that are here and things that are separate for police and fire in a situation. But I know we've even kind of investigated a couple others that might even have an extra add-on for police and fire, those kinds of things. So we're looking at that as well. But this does have that included, but it also has a general for the whole township.
But it also improves the benefit package for the employee.
Does it open, our sumo plan?
Doesn't
It
it?
is.
It has,
So it's not.
it has therapy in our program and so if you needed to go out for mental health visits, you can do that, but if you're getting a divorce and your spouse and you and your kids have a problem, they can call that. You know, he's getting bullied at school, you can call. Those are those kinds of things that are included in that. So, which might lead an EAP to recommending that they go to their insurance company and go for more in-depth, treatment with a therapist or something like that. So it's the first step.
Okay.
So we got a motion out there to accept the EAP proposal from All in One Health at $3,300 a year. All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed, thank you.
John will Holly come and
Yes.
give us packets,
Yes.
whatever.
She's gonna have the roll out, yeah, so, you signed it. There was a note back, and you needed to get a signature, it changed, and you took care of it, so we're good. And it's done.
Okay, good. So we're good with the zoning.
Yep, thank you. First item I have is a request for trustee to use trustee approval for Hemling Excavating for the house demolitions at 1354 Brimfield Drive. The one on Mogador, property owner decided to take it down themselves, which it is already down. So I just need the one.
That's for how much is that cost?
I believe it was 9,500.
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, I'll second it. That's Brimfield Drive. So how soon is he gonna do it?
He'll get to it right away. Yeah, that's what he told me. So
Well, and to keep that in mind, that was the bid on that we did.
correct.
last time. So
Right.
there were 3 bids, and then. I
This was the
went back
lowest one.
investigated, And that was the one that we're choosing, so.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. All those in favor, Mike? Yes. Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, next item I have is Circle K renovations are approved and they're currently under construction. That went through the BZA as well. I'll need a motion to approve Jendi Miller to zoning commission alternate. I had 2 applications on this one. Jendi fit the role the best at this position.
I'll make that motion. I'll second. I think that's a great choice.
Yeah.
She definitely-
She already knows all she needs to know before she gets to the table.
She's a wealth of information.
She is. Plus she was secretary to the board for a number of years.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
And it was zoning.
Alternate,
Commission of.
zoning commission alternate, yep.
Okay. All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Next item I have is a motion to approve Colette Welesnik to zoning commission member. She's an alternate right now, and we're going to move her up to a member.
So,
Okay, all those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
yes.
Motion passed.
And the only thing I added on today was the request, motion to send 4088 Linwood Drive to the prosecutor's office for follow-up. I did send you pictures this morning. It's just garbage and debris all over. We've sent 2 notices and gave them plenty of time. They just haven't cleaned up.
Okay. I'll make that motion.
And I will second it.
All those in favor, Mike? Yes. Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay.
And that's all I have today.
Any other good roaders? Any about casinos or anything?
No.
Asking for fun.
No. We got some positive feedback on the park between Cassie and I, and then we've got some positive feedback on the assisted living center coming in. A lot of people are interested.
All these at the end of the month, maybe?
I think in the end of the month, I mean, the biggest thing right there is the flooring system. So,
They're building one in North Canton too, where there used to be a fisher's market there, and it's been sitting, I guess they can't get lighting, or they can't get the refrigeration units, or something they need. you
the
know?
biggest thing is the flooring company that Aldi's dealt with had a specific floor for all the Aldi's throughout the country, and they closed up. So they had to go for an alternate.
Do you know if they started or they find something?
They found somebody, yeah.
So it's going out.
They're telling us by the end of the month, yeah.
That's great.
Be a nice addition up there.
Yeah, it will be.
Sure will. That place will be busy. So.
Yeah.
Put down the phone.
Yeah, it doesn't take that long, no.
Well, thanks, Mike.
Yep.
You're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay, maybe.
Yeah, well, morning. I need to, I might as well start with a banger. I need the board's approval for somebody construction to give us a building estimate on the cost of the new road garage for $5,000. We need to hire these guys so we can get an idea, estimate of what the cost of the building will be.
And the reason we're doing this, just so everyone knows, is we want to be able to fund this without taxpayer dollars. I mean, without having to go get new taxpayer dollars. So we use the general revenue. it hasn't put out that little thing. Just this year alone, we are getting 1.4 million from Sandwich. That's our share. And a lot of you know, but back when Sue and I were on the board and helped create this, we 30% goes to the road department, 30% goes to fire, 30% goes to police, and then 10% goes to the general fund. But then we also have that M&I fund, which Talmadge gets back 5% to us for us to manage. So all these little things we've been getting done, and the whole list of them. In fact, we just got a card for the IT and the administrative staff, and that's all paid for through M&I funds, not taxpayer dollars. So, and I mean, just so you know, 1.4 million is just from Talmadge. It's not from and now with the Kent jet, which is a different jet, I think that's about roughly $45,000. Yep. And now we have the first building with some teeth. Now we have a nursing home, which will be kicking into the Kent jet. So I mean, things look bright in the future. We're not even up to the top on the jet revenue.
No.
Next year it goes up again.
Next year. So like I said, in our state of Brimfield, I don't want to get off the subject, but I tell you, maybe I see Neil Sackett, we need to thank him, because Neil Sackett from Cardinal Lumber didn't get involved. We would have been throwing donuts at each other, and we would have, Brimfield would have been Talmadge and Kent, so we'll always be thankful. But that's why I just, I want you all to know that Dave, he has been addressing it with his men, they're going over the whole plans, and I'm really excited to see those, while he's here. Then, the road department checklist. So if any of you want to see them, they're here. I don't want to steal Dave's thunder, but like what Dave and I met with Charles Sportsman, and Dave, you can explain about the concept of the building.
Yeah, the concept is gonna be built like an ODOT building, where we can just pull trucks in, pull them out. You don't have to back out, try to squeeze 11-foot blade through a 12-foot door. Yes. We're set up for the future. Again, it's gonna hold 14 dump trucks. So as of now, it'll hold all of our dump trucks and pickup trucks and a few pieces of equipment, but for the future down the road, when hopefully the next guy takes over here soon. He has the concept of the building to grow into. Where the building we have now, I got guys sitting against walls doing lunches up. The building's not, we're out of room now. So
We don't even have room to store all our stuff inside.
And not to mention the EPA.
Right. But this would,
Our salt level's about ready to fall down.
we're working on getting the concept of putting in wash bays where we can put everything, wash trucks inside, become EPA regulated the right way. Service area, for service trucks with a pit, yep, where we can work, grease trucks, this and that, maybe in the future. The township grows, get a mechanic or two, you have mechanics work on everybody's equipment and the thing.
Guys, come up and look at this. We're we have multiple, I just want to check out the Bill, you want to see? Where's the other building? We walk that land coming in, on the right hand side, up here. Yeah, I'll show you this. See, this is, what Dave's concept is. This is also, these are pretty fast metal buildings, which will save us a fortune. They'll drive in this way, and they'll come down here. Dave had to have these space bigger, because the size of
Our plots, yes.
So they come in this, above this area, there's 2 floors, right? Upstairs.
Yes, there'll be an upstairs and
For
downstairs.
storage. So they come in here, and they'll go back out here, but everything will be warm, through the winter. Now, Dave came up with this thought.
I was actually, Charles came up with a good idea on that too.
So this here is gonna be for more trucks, to right here, what do you call it there?
That's the service, that's the
Service
pit.
shed
That's the wash.
in the wash bay. Because right now, our problem is when they wash trucks, it goes down into the water. So we need to stop that.
Yeah, we get the salt and all this stuff going into the creek or something.
Well, I get the call to prepare just the tank that we're gonna have.
It'll be an oil separator.
We're separated tank, it'll be in the ground, so it'll not in the ground, it's in a tank outside.
The tank will be in the ground.
Right, but I mean,
Yeah, don't-
I meant it's not going in the ground, it's going in the tank.
All is went into the storm sewer. And then it went right to the river. Well, they go out and check it at times and it's 100% salt.
Not that we're telling on yourself, but we realize we have an issue with that.
Well,
We need to fix that. That's gonna be ready.
They'll have to remove the old building to build this.
No, it'll go actually across from the road garage. We purchased 2.5 acres of ground beside the road garage for the
Our
park.
building over there, you still got some shelter.
Well, that, when it's all said and done, we'll take down the old salt dome, clean that area up, return it back to farms.
Yeah, well, Cassie has plans for that one good hour.
Well, Jim, money will take care of that.
Jim, money, it's not-
Well, that's where we're trying
This
to
is why we
pass
need
this
to
right.
pass this, is because we need to know how much it's gonna cost to figure out where we're gonna come up with the dollars. No, that is not on our agenda to do at all.
If anything, we downsize and the guy takes over next season. So,
I mean, we have to use that money.
Yeah.
I mean, because in the M and I mean, what requires us to use the money for the improvement of the road. And by having the equipment to take care of it, yeah, this is legal equipment. So, okay, somebody got distracted.
That's okay. We have a motion on board. All those in favor, Mike,
Yes.
Stu? Motion passed.
Alrighty, thanks. Just a couple things for the board. Well, of course, we've been dealing with some water issues. I'm sure everybody has. I have soil and water going to come out and meet me on a couple issues we're trying to figure out. We've been doing some ditching and some berming, trying to get rid of some of the waterway, some of the water move faster. We are working on some pool mixing right now as weather permitted. I have 2 dump trucks that are still broke down. One should be returned this afternoon. The other one's still waiting for parts to come in from Texas. Working on some of the road projects for 2023. We've locked in a few things, but again, I'm waiting for some costs to come back to see if we're gonna move forward with them or if we will look into different projects. Let the board know the county commissioners did dedicate Cranberry Creek subdivision phase 1 and 2 to us, which adds another 1.026 miles of roadway. We are responsible for the maintenance as of February 23rd. So we will start taking care of that, plowing, salting, with what's coming up next, storm-wise. So we will be in there, dig it add to us, which pushes us almost to 46 miles of road. So once we get phase 3 and 4, we'll be over 46 miles of road. So again, we're growing. That's why we need to look into this kind of building. And well, the other thing I had was a road garage update. I was going to tell everybody if they want to see the plans after the meeting, I could set them out here and people take the enter at them real quick, point out some things to everybody and see, I mean, even the public's thoughts on what they may want to see as a building. So,
Yeah, you should still do that, just so.
oh yeah, I'll set them out here when we're done. And one last thing, I mean, I guess I kind of messed up. I should have put it under safety concerns. The last rainstorm, we had some flooding on Powder Mill Road, and we had some flooding on Malloy Road and Edson Road, which is our normal 3 flood areas. The thing is, somebody decided they liked our signs better than the public seeing high water signs and stole our signs on 2 out of the 3 places. I did make a police report. Me and Sergeant McCarthy went over it. It's going to be impossible to find out who took them. I want to let them be aware if somebody called and said, hey, I reckon my car because it hit high water and there was no signs. Well, we did have them out. They did disappear. So I'm looking into putting in permanent signs where we put them in, lock the signs down. They're just flip signs. So you'll just flip them down when there's a high water event and flip them up when it's done. Again, I'll probably have residents a little upset because we're sticking more signs in their yards that are permanent but I can't afford to keep replacing $75 signs every time through a storm. Plus, I don't want the public all of a sudden be 2 o'clock in the morning when you don't see it, hit it, and if somebody decide they like my signs better. So that's pretty much all I got.
And thanks for going over and looking at that, maintaining.
Yeah, no, that's great. They need to put a bigger size grate on.
In the spring, when you get out, like in Saks, where it comes out 532, it makes a right, it goes down the hill there. It's all, it's been paved, it's all nice, but on that corner, you mow the grass, but nobody that trims the trees, and cars are hit when they go flying around that curve. And I've seen near accidents, people pull up, and there's a car,
Oh, right.
And the landscaper that's on the corner, he doesn't even trim it, or cut back the trees,
We can hit it, but actually that piece you're talking about is actually Portage County's. Our road don't start till you go
Even
around the corner.
though we take care of Saks.
We take care of from the corner on.
Oh, not from 532?
No.
Really?
Yes, we take it from, actually, the township line is as soon as you make the bend off of,
Oh, make it,
yeah, as soon as you make the bend and start heading toward the tanks
yeah,
or whatever.
little things.
That's kind of where we take over.
Okay.
County actually takes over, they take my little road up to the bend. I mean, I'm not gonna say my guy don't drop his plow at that spot,
I
but,
know how that works.
right, but it's, but yeah, we all work. I mean, if I got a machine out there trimming, maybe I'll look at it.
Well, I was gonna go down myself and just, just enough branches you can see, in a small car, when it comes around that curve or hit, and you're coming up a hill to look out there, and it's always been, at one time, somebody did whack that down, might have had maybe the county did with their side boom mower, and he chopped everything up down through there. It looked like oh, gosh, it was terrible.
Well, that's what it looked like we get through.
And we were accident things. We got nothing to do all this. That's it. Thank you. Cassie?
Good morning. I have a full report today, so I'll try to go through it quickly for you guys. Lots of stuff we're working on. The first item, I'm requesting board approval for a parks intern for 2023-2024 school year. This would be an unpaid internship with a student from Biomed. It's actually Irene Shearer. She was here a few weeks ago as a representative of Girl Scouts doing her Gold Award here. So she'll be a senior next year at Biomed, and this internship would be approximately through starting late August and through May 2024 when she graduates. It'd be about 5 to 20 hours per week, depending on her project and her class load. And she's looking at going into environmental engineering. This is a requirement for her graduation. So, and I talked to Chad Murdoch about this, and he got back to me, and I forwarded you the email just now. I just saw it. So I just verified that it would be okay for us to have an unpaid intern. And in his email, he basically just says, treat her as a regular employee and make sure she's covered under our insurance and workman's comp and all that stuff. But he doesn't see an issue. She's 16 now. She'll be 17 through the majority of her internship. But we sat down with Irene, and I actually had met with her. She's volunteered for us a couple different times for Brimfest and Trunk or Treat, so I know her very well. And she seems like she would be a great addition to the parks during her internship. So
I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the internship with Irene. Sure.
yes.
Let's see.
Second.
I think it's great you're doing internships.
Yep.
It's a great way to help move the park ahead without taxpayer dollars.
All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. And I hope that if this program goes well, we would extend an invitation to Biomed to keep this going possibly every year, to have help every year for that. So
You started thinking about looking in Kent State.
we could, yeah. I know we talked about that before. So, but yeah, I think Irene will be a great start to that since we already know her and we know she's a really hard worker. So. The next item is I'm requesting board approval to send a letter to Tim McGuire, the former property owner of what we're tentatively calling McGuire Park, the Roby Road property, to remove his personal property from the park site. He still has quite a few items of personal property there. This is just a friendly letter to please ask him to remove that personal property. I drafted it and then sent it to Chad Murdoch. He reviewed it. I sent everybody a copy of it, and then you should have a copy of it in your report to review. And I'd like to send that certified just to make sure that he gets that.
This is something we gotta do.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve sending that letter.
Second,
Those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Do we even need a motion for this?
Well, we are sending,
I think this is good.
yeah, I would, just because there's some confusion with that, unfortunately.
Yes.
Right, so I mean, if we're not, we get hold of them.
Yeah,
I'm
that's,
sure he might need a little assistance.
yeah, that's why I wanted to make sure it was sent certified to get verification that he does open it, and I'll make sure we follow up on it. I told Chad that I would keep him informed of what's happening as well, so.
And I'm just, I know I'm just getting off the subject. Did we approve the name, this McGuire Park?
I don't think we did. We brought it to the board, and then we were brainstorming other ideas, and honestly, Aaron and I went through about 100 different names, and we keep just calling it McGuire Park. Nothing else seems to fit.
Yeah, I think we have to stand down with the name.
I think that's fine, yeah. That's what everybody's gonna call it anyway, even if we call it something else, so.
Do we remember the agenda names?
What was the, hold on one second, what was the deadline for the grant money? What did the letter say?
I believe we said, let me pull it up here, 60 days, I think.
About 60 days.
Yeah, let me go through. So it does say, we ask you remove your remaining personal property from the premises within 60 days of receipt of this letter. We just wanted to put a time frame on it. I discussed it with Chad, because if we just keep doing the, hey, could you please get your stuff off the property, it could be there for, another year or so. And then also in the letter, we did say that if he did contact the township, we would assist him with some of the removal. So I just wanted to put that out there so we're aware.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna amend the agenda to, we'll do it to E. McGuire Park, naming. You just need a second, sir.
Second,
Which number was that again? That was.
E.
All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
yes.
Motion
You know,
passed.
you have the most stuff on the agenda.
I do. That never happens.
That's okay.
Okay, you just want to take care of that right now?
We can, just raise the hand, but.
Over here.
Okay, well, I'm gonna make a motion that we formalize the name and call the park, McGuire Park, so. Yeah, after his wonderful donation to the township.
Second,
Okay, all those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
yes.
Motion passed.
In discussion on naming the park, in my opinion, I want to keep the McGuire name in the name of the park, simply because of the history that he has brought to Brimfield and the area that it's in, and I think I would not want to forget that the McGuire family has made this possible
Yes.
for us.
You're right.
So whatever else you call it after McGuire, I would probably be all right.
Yeah.
I think it was the state who gave it to us. It was free.
Right.
40 acres of land back there. Name never comes off that, I don't think.
You know, Cassie, we need to have a walkabout in there.
Yeah.
When it dries up, invite the public out to come see it.
Yep.
So, Mike, what are you calling it?
McGuire Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So now it's formalized.
Yeah.
We were talking about if you call it recreational area or anything like that, people are just gonna call it park anyway, so make it simple.
Okay, all those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes,
Motion passed.
Okay. And then I'm also requesting board approval for the Brimfest fireworks vendor for 2023. I sought quotes from American Fireworks again. They were the one that we used last year. Also Zambelli Fireworks out of Cleveland. I did reach out to Pyrotechnico. I had not heard back yet. So I did receive these 2 quotes. And American Fireworks came back in at the same price as last year, $6,500, where Zambelli for the same show came back at $12,500. So American Fireworks is a wholesaler, so it's kind of hard to beat their prices, and they've been really great to work with. So I do recommend that we go with them again this year.
I'll make a motion that we approve fireworks for Brimfield from American Fireworks. And it costs not to exceed $6,500.
Second.
All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, thank you. So those are all the items I had for board approval. Everything else is informational. An update on getting natural gas for the community center. Dominion will be here this Friday for a site visit just to determine the best course for the gas line to go. And then they're going to give us their report after that. I'm seeking quotes for barn demolition and scrap cleanup at Messner Acres. That's been something that's been on my list since like the day I started here. So I'd really like to get that done this year. And if anybody doesn't remember, there's a dilapidated barn there that has been getting worse and worse. I'm surprised it's still standing, quite honestly, and quite a bit of scrap. There's tires, an old toilet, some old metal carts and things, old fencing. Actually, we went out, Dave and I went out walking Monday, and there's more than I remembered. So definitely time to work on that. I'd like to get that park open. Community center deck, another thing that we've talked about for quite some time that I'm starting to investigate. I'm seeking some quotes now for a raised deck here made of composite materials. We will have to reduce the original size of the deck that was on the original drawings. For those who don't know, the drawing showed the deck coming from this ramp here, attaching to the little platform, and then going all the way around, wrapping around to the back of the building and coming down to the the concrete slab that's at the sliding door down there. Because of the generator and the septic tanks that are out there, we'll have to reduce the original size. It's actually going to have to stop right at the end of that sliding door there. So it'll be a little bit smaller, but still a decent size. From what I've
They'll still be functional.
Yeah, from what I've heard, we'll get about 40 people on the deck. So it sounds pretty good to me. So I'm getting some quotes for that. Parks entrance signs, I'm also seeking quotes for those. Our parks entrance signs are terrible. Yes, they're old, they're falling apart, they're faded, and they need some updating. They're all different too, which bothers me. I think they all need to be the same. So I have some quotes from Signs 330 out of Monroe Falls and also Graphic Detail, just some drawings and some ideas of what we want to do for those and some approximate prices. So I'm not coming to the board for approval today because I think we're still going to make some decisions on that as to how many signs we want. If we're going to do this all in one shot or if we're going to just do a few at a time. And then also, I don't know if we wanted to put in a sign for the library or let the library do that, or if any other departments wanted to have matching signs as well.
I would think the library needs to do it because they're a tenant.
Okay.
So we would have to, anybody that would rent would have to put up their own sign.
Okay.
I do like how you have the trail emphasized.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people look for, trails.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I will come back to the board with a formal proposal later, but I just want to show you what we're working on for that. And then our upcoming programs, this Friday, we have a woodcock walk at 7:30 p.m. at Cranberry Creek Park. And then on the 23rd, we have our 4th annual amphibian hike here at Lions Park at 8 p.m.
And that's usually a well-attended one.
It is, yes. It was the first program I ever did here. We usually get like 40, 50 people for that.
You
So.
ever see those remote control alligators? You're gonna have to go in the back. Probably not the right thing to do for the Legion of Florida. You see that on the video? She was walking her dog and came up to get the dog and pulled the dog away and came and grabbed her and dragged her.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
I know, I'm watching what I'm doing.
Dear Lord, yeah.
Terrible. Okay.
And then
Thanks, Cassie.
also, we're looking at blinds for the community center.
Yes.
Aaron's texting me as we speak, so,
Yeah, we're gonna get done for this.
yeah, right. Okay, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, Joe, it's your turn.
Okay, well, we'll start with thanking the board for adding me to the bi-weekly meetings. I do feel I could add some more value to the discussions, and as you pointed out, unfortunately, cybersecurity is now a very important part of, at this point, almost everyone's life. The term that is given now is called bad actors. Bad actors are out there, they're trying to take advantage of us, they're trying to scam us, and holding people's data hostage is becoming the new black market currency. They love to get a hold of your data, they love to attempt to make you pay to get it back, and in some cases, even if you do, they've already posted it to other sites and have resold it, so the cybersecurity is just, it's an unfortunate necessity. So that's something that, I have unfortunately experience with from my prior job, and hopefully I can get in front of that and prevent that from ever happening here. So I will start with, kind of give you guys a little bit of an update. Big things that we've done so far this year, I've done so far this year, as we did implement a new phone system in the township that went live the 17th of February. As far as I know, we've not had anything but minor issues with the system. As with anything new, there's gonna be some tweaking, some adjustments. I'm still working with the vendor on some feature enhancements that I feel we really need to get done to help make the system a little bit better, but in general, I'm not aware of any major issues. We were able to get it, or I was able to get it installed all in that one day. No one complained to me about any missed calls, so I know Captain Atkins has been making some changes in the PD on some of your call coverage. He is set up as an admin in the site also, so he has that ability to control call coverage, path information for the police department, and also back me up in the event that I'm on vacation or something happens. So he has access to the system also. Yeah. So that's going good. And then as I said, our first 3 months, one of the advantages as we move forward with Ring Central is we signed by the end of the year, they gave us the first 3 months for free. So our first actual invoice outside of, Uncle Sam's fees should be next month. But right now our expected savings is $300 a month. And once I get the actual invoice, we'll be able to say exactly what that is. But based on quoted numbers and what we were paying for our prior service, I am expecting this to be a reasonable savings, about $300 a month. And having a lot of future expandability, even for the fire department and everything, because obviously we're growing, we're gonna need more phones. So we'll be able to do that. With Ring Central, basic phones are not at any cost, and even the advanced phones that we're adding for, we'll call them power users, we want, we'll call presence bills, everything, those are only costing us like $6 a month. So it's very cost effective, even if we have to grow. So it's really good.
Are you getting comfortable with Brimfield?
Yes, this is an entirely new environment. I apologize, I'm not as familiar with the flow of professional of these meetings, and I'm sure I will say things out of order, but I'm going to learn very quickly. So I do appreciate everyone's patience with me if I speak out of turn or stuff. So
Before you finish, let me stop. I just want to jump in. I was worried when we hired Joe because I was worried that he wasn't going to be able to catch on as fast as we wanted him to. He's way over what I expected. He got a jam when we hired him, and he's also got negotiation tools. He beats down those vendors to track you guys.
In the 23 years I was with the press, in certain forums, I wore many hats. One of those hats was I managed telecom for the corporation. At one time, when it was becoming Hesper Solutions, the Brimfield office was actually being set up as the corporate office. So our IT department became corporate. So I was managing telecom for 3 printing facilities and about 20 remote sales offices. So I am very familiar with beating down on major telecom providers, negotiating contracts.
We didn't know we were getting that.
Oh yeah, I've telecom, well, it's been a few years since I've done it. I'm very familiar with that environment. So yeah, going into this, I've been trying to do that,
I appreciate it.
yeah, so this is, negotiations is part of my wheelhouse, so I'm good with that. But again, this is a different animal being government versus commercial, so there's a little bit of intricacies that I need to learn about. And I feel I can get up to speed on that. Speaking of cybersecurity, which I started with, and again, you guys brought up, we are implementing a product, or I'm implementing a product called CrowdStrike. It is a cybersecurity package. It's like antivirus on steroids. So that will be, I'm in the process right now, all the admin computers have been installed. I will be working with the police and fire and a few of the other outside PCs to get CrowdStrike installed. It is an AI-based application. So instead of being your traditional antivirus, which downloads like definitions, on a base, this actually uses an AI engine to look at your normal operation of your computer and what is happening abnormal. So, hey, this application is doing something it normally doesn't do, or hey, this new application appeared and it shouldn't be there. It's using computer intelligence and a cloud-based software to analyze the computer and say, hey, something is wrong, or they're aware of an issue, they're aware of attack, and is this happening to your computer? And it can actually stop an attack before it happens, or if it's questionable, it can alert me in real time and say, hey, this computer's got something going on with it. I think it's weird, and I can actually look at it remotely and say, yeah, it's definitely weird. And I can press one button, actually disconnect the computer from the network. So let's say, someone accidentally falls for a phishing email, and they click on a link and it installs something. As soon as that application starts to run, if CrowdStrike's is aware that it's bad, it alerts me. I click one button, that computer is now isolated from the rest of the network, so it cannot spread. So it is a very good tool. I've used it extensively by my prior employer, so I'm very familiar with them, and we were able to get some pretty competitive pricing with them.
Just to add into that, I know that Mike shared your text message that we weren't the only one that got that.
Oh yeah,
that was to every fiscal officer in Portage County, showing the chairman of the board asking for that. It was all a big scam, and it went to everybody on the same day by a text message.
Yeah, and that's something we can look at as like a phase 2. CrowdStrike has many, many advanced features. If we ever get to the point where we don't want me being the single point of contact, they actually have a service where they do the remediation for them. So as soon as an alert happens, someone on their team gets the alert, they look at it, they connect into the PC, and they solve it, and then they tell me they've already done it for us. So there's the ability, if we want to, at some point, to bring them in as remote IT support. They can also have the ability to install the client on your phone. So if you clicked a link on your phone, it would do something. As of right now, I don't feel that that's something that the township is needing, because all of our phones are kind of anonymous or independent. My phone isn't connected to the network. We're not at the point where our phones are integrated into our township network. So even if a phone got compromised, it's very unlikely that it would cause damage to other people, because we're not a centralized business per se. We're township, all of our phones are kind of independent, so it's not necessary. But that is something that CrowdStrike would offer if we ever felt it was something we needed. So it's a very scalable solution. So I feel that's a good direction to go in. And the other thing I would like to talk about, and I know this was something that was brought up during my interview process, is the township's website and the website for the police department. So I would like to start at least having a discussion, and if we can't, again, this is where we proceed.
Was there one of these a proposal letter, I thought?
I had a proposal, sorry, and I realized I didn't send that out. I sent that to Nick, and I just realized that probably should.
There's one an investment proposal. Is that?
Both of these, okay, so there's 2 solutions that I would like to move forward with. Civic Plus is the solution that I'm recommending. But I want to add that it's more than just a website. It is an entire municipal management web-based application. So its public-facing pieces, it is going to create and manage our website for us. It would be the application that we would go in to make page changes, but there's a lot of automation. Like it has an entire agenda management piece. So the department heads, the trustees, whoever would go into this agenda piece and they would create their agenda and whatever they need to do. And then once the meeting is approved, you press a button and those automatically get posted to the website. So there's a lot of double dipping we're doing right now where different department heads or Rochelle is regurgitating information from this trustee meeting to be able to post it on the site. Zoning is probably, regurgitating information to update the site. Civic Plus can do that for us. It can take information that you're creating inside of its management piece and put that on the site for you.
Was this bringing all of us together again? I know police and fire had.
Yes.
Is it bringing us all onto that?
As part of this quote, because right now we have two independent websites. We have the BrimfieldOhio.gov and then we have BrimfieldPolice.com. We don't have a relationship with the web developer for Brimfield Police, so we don't have really good access to the site. We have some, but not all. But in addition, we're not currently paying for that site. It is up, but we don't know. We don't know control over its web hosting or who was hosting it. So whoever has it could turn it off tomorrow, and we have no control over that. We have no ability to delete and back it up because we don't have administrative access to it. We have editor access, if I'm understanding correctly.
To a degree.
Yeah, so
You were working with him on this too?
Chris, or Captain Atkins, sorry, maybe a little. So yes, and he has contacted me a couple of times with his concerns over that because he doesn't know if it could go away tomorrow. And that's another piece of this is no matter who I contact, it is going to be several months of development until the site is ready. With Civic Plus, they're saying 6 to 8 months.
Talk about our site, the township site.
Yes.
not PD.
So
What
right-
issues are we having with that right now?
We are using a product called WordPress, sorry. And we have a lot of, the way WordPress works is it's a basic website development engine, and then you add plugins to it, then it add enhancements like a calendar or reservations, and you just keep adding plugins. Several of the plugins are no longer supported. And one of the things is because WordPress is so popular, anytime anything gets big, it becomes a target for bigger bad actors. So they want to find ways of interacting with your site or hacking your site. When you allow plugins or even the WordPress engine to get older, it no longer can be patched. So we have several plugins that are preventing us from upgrading our version of WordPress. And in general, the site has become a little stale. We've been editing it long enough that there are certain components when we try to edit it, we don't get the results we're expecting. There's some things that I know Rochelle's brought to me that we can't change the color of certain fonts, so it's not as readable. And something that was brought to my attention when going through this process is, as a government agency, we have certain things that we have to meet, especially in regards to the Americans with Disability Act. So the readability of your site for not necessarily visually impaired, but people that have visual issues that might use some font enlargers and stuff. Some of those applications that they're using to be able to read websites aren't going to be able to work with our current site. So we may be forced to upgrade our site anyways to be able to make that ADA compliant. Civic Plus by its nature is ADA compliant, and it even has tools that we can buy later. Let's say that you want to make it completely visually impaired, you could have a button on your website you can click and it can start reading it to you. So there's a lot of specific tools that Civic Plus offers because there's, from the ground up, Civic Plus is, the company is based for municipalities, cities and townships, things like that. And an example of if you were to go to the city of Kent, the city of Canton, Shaker Heights, a lot of the large cities and townships in our area all use Civic Plus. That's how I became aware of them, is from the city of Kent.
Is that who Kent uses?
Yeah, Kent uses Civic Plus. City of Kent uses Civic Plus. Lima and Shaker Heights are their biggest customers in Ohio.
How long have they been around? Are they newer? Are they-
No, they have been around for 20 years. So they're from the ground up, their entire company is based on doing exactly this, getting communications between, townships and cities with the public. And there's a lot of, nice features of that. People can subscribe to specific areas of the website and get alerted when there's changes, so people can subscribe to the parks section and get alerts every time that there's new park pages posted, or they could subscribe to meeting minutes.
You can do credit card processing on
They can do credit card processing, we can do reservations. Each department could have a calendar, but that calendar can automatically blend into a master township calendar that you then can subscribe to. You can subscribe to.
Mike, what is zoning fee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is exactly designed for what we should be doing.
Well, you talked to Mike too, to make sure that it met all your.
Correct.
Yes.
Ken has a very nice site. I've seen that.
Yes, it is. It's very flexible. One of the things that is you brought up, right now we have 2 separate sites. Our intention is to keep maintaining the BrimfieldPolice.com and the BrimfieldOhio.gov, but make them look similar. So this tool can have what they call branding. So you can have one general theme for the site, a very similar menu structure. But when we bounce over to the police department, what my recommendation is changing the color scheme a little bit. So it still represents, I'm on the police department site, but it still has the same township menu, but the item now switched over. So they know, you're on the police site, they can have a different menu structure than when you're on the park site. So the menu can be driven based on what you're looking for, but still have the same theme and still link back and forth. And again, the calendars works, and they have some future features that we might want to look into. I know right now we're using, I'm gonna pronounce it probably wrong, but is it Nixle alert system? They have an equivalent built into their application. It would be an additional fee to look at. But one of the advantages of it does exactly what that product does, but whenever we put an alert out, it automatically adds a red banner to the top of the website. So if we had a road closure or emergency, not only would it send out texts, emails, and everything else that they're doing, but it automatically puts a giant red banner on top of the website that says exactly what that alert is for. So that, we had one more ability of communicating to the public that, hey, there is a road closure or an accident, please avoid this area. Whatever we need to get out there. So the integration features of this project are exactly what I feel we should be using.
We definitely need an update.
Yes, so it is, so what we'd be looking at if we went with Civic Plus is a year 1 cost of $36,155. That is the development, annual hosting, and an optional fee, which is $2,500. So if we pay this optional fee of $2,500, that prepays for what they call a site refresh every 48 months. So you're paying for future development at today's costs and locking that price in. So that way, every 48 months, we're eligible to say, you know what? This site looks great, but we want to refresh it, we want to rebrand it. We've already paid for that development, we've locked in that price now. So instead of paying for prices in the future, we're locking in the development cost now. So we pay an optional $2,500, which is in that $36,000 price I told you. We've locked in a 48-month refresh. So we're gonna keep the site fresh, we're gonna keep the site looking new every 48 months. And it gives them all this.
And if, say, that we do accept this, then in this proposal, you say the first year doing all the prep work and all that is like, what, 38,000?
The development loan is
What's it going to be the second year?
Year 2 and forward is $8,377. So that includes that $2,500 48 refresh fee and the hosting. So they're hosting the site, and we're also paying for the licensing to use the application. So you're
Well, I feel that I'm not paying $36,000 the second year.
no. And we have to look at this in 2 parts. It's more than just a website. It's a township management, or we'll use as a township management application.
So it solves our issues of getting payments on time, being able to automate all that stuff. That's a huge thing that we're doing right now. In parks and zoning, so that
I know
all
we
works
don't do
out.
anything for parks.
Well, we do, but it's an adequate way.
And
to
we
do
can
it.
create, you know, you can make polls on this, you can do online forms. So right now, I'm gonna use parks as an example, they print out a form for reservation. They can fill this out online, so you don't have to fill out a form and bring it in or mail it in, you can fill it out directly on the site. You get great forms for zoning, I'm sure you've got plenty of things that people would wanna be able to apply for permits or something. You know, we can do polls, questionnaires, online forms, you know, everything through this application.
Do we have any data on how engaged the current website is with the community? 'Cause I'm kind of looking at return on investment. For $38,000 and the engagement with the current site, and that's my first question, because that's a lot of money. My second question is, any other communities, if you mentioned Kent and Canton, big communities, a lot bigger than us. So do we have any quotes from any other vendors other than just Civic Plus right now to take a look at?
The second quote that I have is from WordPress themselves. So if we look at it just from a website, we just want to rebuild the site.
Yeah.
That quote is for, up here, that is for $23,699. So that's $22,700 for development. That's to do the township site and the police department site. That's $1,000 a year in hosting. So that's gonna be year one, $23,699, and then annually $1,000. But that's no refresh in 48 months. That's just take our current site, add some lipstick and mascara, make it look new, but they're taking the exact same content and copy and pasting it. They're just updating the site and updating the plugins.
Yeah.
That's
why I asked about the engagement, because let's be honest, most folks aren't really generally going to websites. They're going to the social media feed
right.
to get most of their information. That's
Right.
that's generally where most folks are going.
I have access to the analytics for the township site, but I don't have access to the police department site. Unfortunately, we're kind of cut off on the police department. So I could tell you, I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I could generate a report of who's going to the site, that, you know, basic hit counters and stuff,
Yeah.
the township site. I don't know what's going on from the police department
Okay.
side.
My third question is, do you have the quote from the vendor that your predecessor was looking at? I think they're located out of Stowe. They do some area municipalities websites. Do you have the quote still on hand from that?
The only quote that I was passed from Brian was the one from WordPress.
From WordPress?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only quote that I inherited, and I had a conversation with them, and we tweaked it a little bit, but pretty much it stayed the same as what Brian generated.
I know we did a quote from a company located out of Stowe that do a lot of municipal website information. I can go back through my emails and
I
find
did
that.
not have that. I can look into.
Joe, is there a way that you can put all those numbers together there, just kind of, I don't know, is that the normal cost of a website in that ballpark, and how much are people using it?
Right, I did reach out to two other local web developers that I had used back in the days of the press, one located in Talmadge, one located in Canton. Both of them, because of our wanting to be able to allow department heads to continue adding onto the site, I asked them to both also quote WordPress, because that's what we're accustomed to using. And so their quotes were significantly higher than either of them. So that they're not able to provide us the pricing that WordPress can, because WordPress is quoting it themselves. So they're discounting their product a lot deeper than someone else that's going to resell it. So I did have two other local web guys that I've used in the past. I know they're good guys, but unfortunately they can't touch either price. The one in Canton was actually even more than Civic Plus. So it was something that, you know, just, it wasn't even feasible to look into. It's just too expensive. And that's because this isn't their market. They're looking to come into your company and market you and be this big impressive thing. We're not looking to be hiring a marketing company, we're looking to hire a web company. And most web companies have become marketing companies these days. So their value added really isn't what we're looking for. You know, we're a township, we don't need to create a brand, we don't need to be selling things, we need to, we just need to have a presence and be able to communicate effectively.
I think it'd be good if you could, I mean, it's great information, I love this stuff. Maybe you could put some get some numbers together,
Yeah.
Usage numbers.
Yeah, let me get some usage numbers together to see, what,
And then just bring it back and maybe we'll have
Yeah.
a full board then, so,
yeah, and I just want to make sure that we're moving forward, because unfortunately, no matter who we pick, it is something that's gonna take several months, so. we
Well,
need to
this
get
is
started.
my worry was for, when Brian was here, that this is not working the way it is right now. We need to do something.
Well,
So,
we don't get problems, so you got nothing.
So that's why I just want to get in front of you guys that, this is what the information I've been able to gather so far, and get a little direction, like we have.
You guys get a chance, go look at that county website, it is good.
I've used Civic Plus when I worked for the city of Fairlawn, and for parks, it's just the best thing ever. I know Brian tried to integrate different plugins for parks as far as the booking calendar and the credit card, but they're all like different pieces we're trying to shoehorn into something that works, but this already is made for government. So
That's probably be what the answer is for the future, what we need.
It's something I feel that, yes, that would really enhance what we have now, but it is going to really help us in the future. In addition, since Civic Plus is specifically targeted for what we're doing, as they continue to enhance their product, we get those features for free. So as they continue to say, okay, hey, we wrote a new module, we gain from those enhancements. So I do feel it's yes, it's an investment, but I think it's something that we may need to look into.
I'm glad you're up into this.
yeah, just keep me up to date this week while you're finding.
Yep.
Let's get it out there so we have a week for the next. We need to do something one way or the other.
Put it on the agenda for the next meeting. Well, thank you for doing it, John. Okay. Do we have any other business? Do we have anything for the good of Brimfield Township?
I'll send you.
Oh, we can have secretary.
Oh, cemetery. Oh, sorry, let's get over
Miss over that one. We have let me explain what we're gonna do here too. If you wanna jump in, please feel free. But, we've been trying to purchase the property from, Pitt's family that's on the old golf course. It's probably been like, 10, 11 months now that we've been
Yes.
playing this back and forth. We had an appraisal of the property done, the amount that we wanted and all that. It came back as $25,000 an acre. So we were gonna use American Rescue Plan money for that, simply because that was one of the things that affected us during COVID, is a lot of them used. We have about 7 years or so estimated left of the current Brimfield Township Cemetery before we have to close it and run out of space in there. So we've been pushing back and forth with their lawyer, and then the last time they wouldn't accept it, they said, sorry, we're not gonna sell it. So, this does fall under the eminent domain, that we have the ability to take that piece of property, because it's needed by Brimfield Township, and we're paying them the standard fee of what the normal rate is in town. So Mark Canetti, who does a lot of our legal stuff on that, who's been working this the whole time, we need to pass a motion if we want them to go on with the eminent domain process for that. The motion would be that we authorize the law firm, Diebert and Associates, LPA, to pursue any and all legal action on the behalf of Brimfield Township to accomplish the acquisition of certain real estate property for the purposes of expansion of current cemetery owned by Brimfield Township. We have to pass a resolution stating that to give Mark the approval to get started on that process. So what we need to do
Since I'm
today
the
is,
liaison for the cemetery, I would like to make that motion.
and we're okay with going this next step, if they just,
it.
Mike, give us,
But I'll second it for discussion.
Mike,
Oh, yeah, so, we started off with this, with negotiations, this property, the good part of the parcel was taken up by Redwood. There was plans with residential homes wrapping around Redwood, as well as an assisted living center in the back of the property. After soil reports were given to the developers, they only decided to use the center portion of it. The other portions, the land is pretty bad. That's why you're getting at $25,000 an acre. They've been going back and forth with their real estate. And at one point, I think we were $1,000 apart, maybe 15. We just weren't going to pay over what the appraised amount was. And then it came back and they said, no, we're selling to somebody else, which nobody has contacted me and even discussed that parcel. So usually it starts with us in zoning. But I don't foresee anybody buying it right now. I don't see it.
And we need that piece of property.
You do.
To be able to add another 25, 30 years, whatever it may be, how many plots would be there to be up the cemetery.
Yeah, and
Or we'd have to figure out where we're gonna have another cemetery at,
Well-
or everybody gets buried outside Brimfield.
And we had Mike Wolin drop some drawings, preliminary drawings of where it would be and to provide them access for fire and police, back and forth, 60-foot right of way going in off of Talmadge Road. We took the 5 acres closest to the cemetery and allowed them access. And we even offered green space and open space to them that, would be the 5 acres we'd be using so they could utilize the land more. So, I think we've been more than enough, fair enough.
And Mr. Pitts, I know, would have given us that land, but he's not here anymore. And I don't know if it's the grandkids that are involved now.
Yeah.
Granddaughter.
Are they local?
There.
How they should have, they just don't want to work with us.
Well, we offered we had the land appraised and we're offering what the appraisal was. So we would have bought 5 acres for $125,000. That's just sitting there.
Right. And it shouldn't affect any future development for them. We laid it out just so it wouldn't.
Is there any more property that they can develop?
There's property that can be developed there. It's just the soils aren't the greatest. It's going to be expensive to build in there. So.
Where the back of the golf course was, or?
Yeah, it's as you're coming in on Talmadge, it's going to be, right now it's low land. It's got to be filled. And as you wrap around the back portion of Redwood, there's still some good land up in there, but to get access back in there, it's pretty costly. So.
I remember the skipper group was thinking about buying that so they could move their retention ponds and all that stuff back there to create more land.
Right. And they couldn't come to a deal either.
And then Orco was talking to them on the other side.
Yeah, it was a split. We were going to take one portion of it and then Skipper Group, the other portion, like you said, Worco, and just it didn't work out that way. So.
So there's really nothing else we can do.
I don't know, I mean, our cemetery is gonna be shut down, so we're not gonna have any more space, and then that causes a huge issue for us. What do? Do we just not have a cemetery anymore, make people go to Canada Talmadge or wherever, or do we move it to another location? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. The best sense means to take it right where it is right now.
I think what has really been able to help us though is for the cremation, columbariums.
That's a little area, but that's giving us more time.
Rochelle, the cemetery sexton, gave me some figures. And according to what she has to work with, we're looking at an estimate about 500 more in the ground burials available.
Well, a lot of those lots are sold though too, so, yeah, so we don't have any that are available to sell, yeah. But I mean, this is our option at this point, and Mark is recommending that we do that as well. So it's not like we've been doing this for a month, we've been
No.
playing with them for almost a year now, and
Right.
yeah, so I just need a motion of that, so if you wanna make one authorizing Dean and Associates, what I read before, and put it in exactly as they stated it.
And get the motion for them.
Okay. All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you. I'll read this down. Mike, thank you for your help on this as well.
Sure.
There's nothing else to come before the board.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
You're adjourned at 9:38 a.m.